Hey friends, Kim from StampingImperfection.com. Welcome to the 7 Kids Craft Store video hop. We are celebrating the release of the 7 Kids Craft Store's September stamp sets, and we are doing that by having a video hop. So you'll see links below in the description so you can hop on to the next video. You can just click the link and go to the next video. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how to participate in a gift card giveaway. And there are actually 5 stamp sets in this release, and everyone is super fun. So these will coordinate with the August release and the July release of the little fairy cards, and the Halloween kids will of course coordinate with the ice cream parlor and the pizzeria sets. And then we have the La Catrina, which is really fun. This one has Spanish and English sentiments. So there's some Halloween stamp sets, and then there are some just general great for fall stamp sets, and I'm super excited about them. So I actually have already done all my stamping and like pre-cutting and everything, because I want to show you how to make this slider card. I have a little tab here, I pull, the little thing pops up to show a sentiment below, and I think that it's really fun. And if you wanted to, you could put this on a card front so you also had the card open, or you could attach a little gift card pocket to the back. But I just think this is a super fun little card, and it actually does stay open, believe it or not. So like you could put it on a table or something. But I think it's actually very easy to do. I created a PDF, so you can go to my blog at StampingImperfection.com and download that PDF with all the dimensions and instructions, and I'll have a couple pictures there too when I'm all done. So here you can see I'm playing with today the Foraging Fairies set, and I have used every stamp in this set between this card and the one that I'm actually going to show you today. So I absolutely loved, although I didn't actually attach the two, there's a cup and a bottle that I also colored, but somehow I thought maybe I didn't color that bottle correctly for the little baby fairies here, so I decided maybe that shouldn't go there. But this has just been so much fun. Isn't that tree stump table gorgeous? Like, what a fun image. I added some grass around the edge, and I had fun with the little fairy kids. I colored in, this is the one I'm actually using today. So let me show you how to make this. It's actually surprisingly easy, and it's pretty fun. So the first thing that I did was I used my Misty to stamp all my images. So I stamped all my images, then I colored them all in, then I cut them out with my brother's Scan and Cut. So if you have an electronic die cutting machine that allows you to cut images, it's a beautiful thing, because I've just started using this in the last like maybe 3 weeks, and wow, it makes, like, it cut these beautifully. Like, you can see how beautifully it cut it, and it's so much easier than fussy cutting. So I did all of that. I got all my images cut, and then I created the pieces that I needed for the card. So one of the things that I used the My Favorite Things Gingham Galore pattern paper, and Kelly has a version of this in the 7 Kids store. She's got the petite gingham patterns, which are just smaller checks, and it's pretty cute. I was wishing I had that for this card. I think that the petite one would have been nice. So she's got that. Any pattern, your favorite pattern paper. I love stripe papers and plaid papers and papers with like polka dots, so I think any of those would be super fun. And if you had like I think if I had a pattern paper with some, you know, forest florals, that would have been very cute on the back of this one. So I thought that would be pretty fun. So the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a piece of pattern paper and a piece of white cardstock. These are cut like a regular card front, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to put this aside for a minute. This is the one I'm going to work with. The other things that I needed a tab, and I cut a couple of these. You need a white tab because the tab is the part that you pull up and it attaches to this flap that we're going to cut out and allows you to pull it up and down. Okay, so that tab is cut at 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. So you've got a tab there. And I'll have all these dimensions on my blog and on that PDF you can download. Now what we're basically going to do this is the pattern paper. I just did it on white cardstock so you could see, but this would be the pattern paper. The white cardstock is going to remain a solid sheet. All I'm going to do is I'm going to punch that little tab thing out of there. Okay, and that just gives us a way to grab that tab inside. So this is your pattern paper, which is cut 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. We're going to make this flap. Okay, and basically we're cutting around 3 edges, and we want a 3/4 inch border around the whole thing. Then we're going to take this tab and we're going to make 3 score lines. We're going to score the edge where we don't cut it, then we're going to score it twice more on the panel, okay, so that it folds up, and we're going to create a mountain fold. So the middle fold will fold up away from the card base, and the other 2 will fold basically in the opposite direction. And then this little piece at the end is the piece that will attach to the tab piece that we create, okay, and we're only going to attach this part to it. Then I cut out, you could cut out any shape, but I cut out a circle. This is about a 3-inch circle, so that when I open this, I actually rested it on this part here. And you want to make sure that you only put adhesive on this panel so that when this pops up, it's not attached to that piece, because we want that to actually stand up. So I cut out about a 3-inch circle. And for this one, I just colored it in with a Copic really easily and made it like a blue sky. You could do ink blending. You could actually like ink blend this bottom white card if you wanted to, or do some kind of fantastic background. I think that's really fun. Then I also die cut a piece of glimmer paper. This is like an iridescent glimmer, and I used a scallop punch so it fits around the outside of that, and I popped that up on foam, and I popped up the little fairy that I'm using on foam as well. Now for this one, I did not do the scallop at all. Instead, I just popped all of these things up. I actually popped the table up on foam, and then I used just regular adhesive for the other parts. So the table pops out a little bit, and I could tuck those kids in behind there. So it's got quite a bit of dimension. And then when I pull it up, I've only got adhesive on the part that's on that middle panel. There's no adhesive on the top part of this. Okay. Well, at least there's not now. There might have been a moment where there was, but there isn't now. Okay, so let's get that started. So I've already done this part. And let me show you how to cut this panel. And just FYI, like you probably already have dies sets. And I know My Favorite Things doesn't carry these circular dies anymore. Or at least they didn't the last time I checked, but these are their stacked circle dies. There's 2 sets of different sizes. If you don't have a set of circle dies like this in your die collection, this is definitely something you want to add. And another thing that I really like scallop circles. I have this one from Sunny Studios, and it die cuts out 3 parts. And again, I'm not sure Sunny Studios even has this, and I am not sure what Kelly has in her store. I will check on that. But it die cuts out 3 pieces. I use the outer part. Now I've got these 2 parts to use on other projects, so I will tuck those in here and save those. Okay, actually I'm not going to use this one on this project either because I've already got it cut out. So you want whatever pattern paper you have, and now you want your trimmer. So I'm going to turn my trimmer this way, and I'm going to try to pull you in closer so you can see what I'm doing. And you probably won't be able to see the numbers, but I will try to explain it really well as I go along. Let's see if I can get a little bit closer. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, so my trimmer, this is a Stampin' Up! Trimmer, and this is their new one. I think this is one of the best trimmers on the market because I can trim with it and score with it. I love this trimmer. So I'm going to line the edge of my paper up with a 3/4 inch line over here on the other side. So here's the 1 inch, and then the 3/4 inch line is right there. So I'm going to line that up like that, and then I'm going to bring my cutting blade up, and along the edge of this you can see they have the numbers also. So I'm going to line my blade up, and there's a little like mark or a little like line or arrow here that I can line up exactly. Let me make sure I did not move this. I can line that up exactly with the 3/4 inch line there, and then I'm going to just get my paper in the right spot, and then I'm just going to push this down, and then I'm going to go down to the, let's see, 4 3/4. So this is 5 1/2, and I want a 3/4 inch border. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go really slowly, and I'm going to stop when that line, that little indent line, again lines up with 4 3/4. Okay, so I've cut a 4 inch line with a 3/4 inch border here, and it's 3/4 inch from this edge. It'll also be 3/4 of an inch. So it's 3/4 of an inch from this edge. It's a 4 inch line, 3/4 of an inch from this edge, and when I get all done, there will be a 3/4 inch border here as well, and along this side. So I've cut this side. I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line this up at 3/4. I'm going to bring, actually I'm going to leave my blade right where it is. It's at 4 3/4. So I'm just going to start at the 4 3/4, and once I have that lined up, I push my paper down, I push my blade in, and now I'm going to bring my blade back till this line lines up with the 3/4 mark. So if I take my pointer, this indent right here is lined up with a 3/4 inch line there. Okay. All right, so now I've got these two 4 inch lines done on each side. I just need to cut one end. So I'm going to take this, and I should be able to line this up again with the 3/4 inch, and leaving my blade right where it is. I should just be able to go back down. Now I'm looking at this side where I can see the cut line, and I'm going to cut all the way across until there's also an indent on this side that lines up with the cut mark I made, because I can actually see that from here. You probably can't see that, but that lines up right there. And when I open this, hopefully, look at that, it's like magic. That's all the cutting I need to do. So let me pull you back out here. So I've got this flap created. Now I just need to score it. So I'll put my trimmer away. And I'm going to pull out my scoreboard. Okay, now I'm going to turn this sideways, and I'm going to pull out my bone folder. And the first one, now I only want to do the scoring on this flat part, so I want to keep that in mind as I'm doing this. So the first one should start at 3/4 of an inch, and the only trick is actually getting your bone folder in that 3/4 of an inch. And I only want to score to the other line that I cut. So I've got this score line right there, and that can be folded back like that. Okay, so I just scored it. I put the uncut edge of my flap toward the side of my bone folder, or my score buddy, and then I scored at 3/4 of an inch, just the flap. Now I'm going to score again at 2 1/4, and again I'm only going to do the flat part. Now with pattern paper, you want to be careful not to push too hard, because pattern paper tears easy when you score it sometimes, depending on the pattern paper. This one has been pretty good. Then I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to score at the 4-inch mark. And again, I'm only scoring that flap. Alright, so I've got 3/4, 2 1/4, and then I've got 4/4. Alright, so I can now take my bone folder and I can fold these up. Now this middle one needs to go this way, so because I need that to pop up like that, and then this one is going to fold up toward the centerpiece like that, just like that. Alright, not too bad, not too bad at all. Alright, that's all the cutting. That's the hard part. That's the crazy math part. So now I can take out the other pieces that I've cut. I can take out my tab, and I can take out my card base. Alright, so the next thing that I need to do is I'm going to put these two pieces together. I'm not attaching them together, I'm just holding them together, and I have the folded piece toward the top. This is the top of my card, so I just need to take, I'm going to use a little, this is a 1-inch hole punch, and I'm going to try to center it, and I'm just going to cut out a little semicircle, and I'm punching through both pieces so the semicircle lines up, and I sort of centered this just like that. Now if you don't have a punch, use your die cut. Like if you have a set of circle dies, you can use one of those to do the same thing. You're just going to line it up. Like if I would take this one, and you're just going to line it up so it only is on half of the paper, just like that. Okay, so you could do that also. I was just too lazy to get up, and that punch was right there. So, alright, so I've got those two pieces, and the next thing I'm going to do is take this tab. This tab is going to slide in between these two. I just want to attach the tab, so I will put it in between these two. I want to attach that tab to this base panel. So I'm going to put some adhesive, and I have 3/4 inch adhesive here. You can use any, it doesn't have to be 3/4 of an inch, I just happen to have it, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to put this adhesive on my, I'm going to put it on the panel in case the panel isn't quite as wide as the patterned paper. And you don't have to use double-sided tape. Use your favorite adhesive. Craft supplies are very personal, so you know, you have your favorite supplies, you have your favorite stores you buy from, and I'm hoping one of those is 7 Kids Craft Supply, because they have a lot of great stuff in there. So now I'm just going to line this up with this little panel. And I'm attaching it to just this little piece right here. Okay, so like I just have it attached. It's only attached in that one spot. Okay, and then I'm just going to slide it through the opening so it goes like that. And then I'm going to take and put some adhesive, and I used I used a 1/4 inch adhesive for this for no special reason. It's just my favorite adhesive to use on projects like these. I like that it tears and I don't have to have scissors in my hand to do it. So I'm just attaching this to 3 sides. The 3 sides that I did the cutting. Okay, I'm not attaching it at the top. I want this piece to slide. So alright, and I am going to use Kiona's advice and just pull back the tabs. I love this. I thought this was such a great tip. This has worked really well for me, and I'm going to pull one up here like that. So I just take off a little piece, and so my tab is attached in between. So I'm just going to attach these, and I want to line them up the best I can. So that there's no white panel hanging below. And then I can just pull these tabs of tape and then just stick it down. Now when I play with this, when I pull this up, I've got a slider card. So simple. It's really so simple. Now before I attach anything, I'm going to pull out my Mini Misty. And again, whatever stamp positioner you have is the stamp positioner you're going to use. And I'm going to pull this open, and I'm actually going to fold this back. Let's see, yeah, I'm going to fold it back just like that so that it lays flat when I put it in my Misty. And there is a sentiment in this stamp set that I think is perfection for the inside of cards. There's 3 sentiments, and I've used 2 on the other card. Make room for fairy dust I used on the outside, and then the inside one I used sending fairy kisses and heartfelt wishes. I thought it was really perfect for the inside of a card. And these are really tiny font letters on these sentiments. So remember, with really tiny font letters, you want to gently ink it up, because you don't want to smush your ink pad into it, and then you want to gently stamp it without pushing too hard. Just run your fingers across it, and then if you have to, stamp it a second time. And then you get really nice images, and the little E's and A's and O's and G's and things like that don't like have ink smoosh into the parts that you want to see, and you get a really nice little image there. Okay, now I can close this, and now I can build the rest of my card. Maybe I can find it. So I have this, and I did cut out a, let me just bring my trimmer back out. I'm using the 3rd sentiment, which says laugh, giggle, and snort. Alright, and you can create a little pennant shape with this if you want to. I just did a little like diagonal cut on the other one, but I'll do a little pennant on this one. And maybe you have one of those cute die cuts that actually does like a fancy banner. That would be perfect for this, you know, for the outside of this, for the sentiment. I thought it looked cute with the sentiment on the outside and a sentiment on the inside. I always like to have a sentiment on the outside of my cards. I don't know why. I think it's just habit. I feel like my card looks naked without it. Alright, now here's the other part that I learned that I had to be careful with. I'm going to put some adhesive on here. I used foam, and actually, no, that's way on the other side. I'm just going to attach a few foam dots here and make sure I'm putting it along the bottom. Okay, I don't want to stick the top part down because I want that to pop up when I open it. So what I did was I opened this, so I just pull that out, and then I just let it sit on that base, so I was able to line it up with the fold. I just need to turn it around this way, making sure I'm centering it. Okay, and then I'll just give my adhesive a little push. So now when I push this down and pull it up, I've got that little I've got the little fairy popping up, and I can put some adhesive on the back of this. And I didn't do anything fancy to the background behind the fairy, which is unusual for me. I'm using a less is more approach here, but you could certainly add, you know, some cute little details. And I'm just going to attach this here, just like that, so that I've got a cute fairy pull-up card. How cute is that? So again, I'm going to put all of the links to these stamp sets below. This is the Foraging Fairy stamp set, and the other ones, let me just share, there are the Treehouse Fairies, and believe me, I tried to think of a way to use the swinging one or the one sitting on the branch. That's super fun. And imagine all the things you can do with those slimline card dies that are out now. Then there are the Halloween Fairies, the Halloween Kids, and then La Katrina. So lots of fun things you can do with this. I know a couple other people have some fun things they're doing with these. I was playing with this. Other people on the hop will be playing with that one. So there is a gift card being given out. So if you go to each of the stops on the hop, and I believe there are 5 stops or 6 stops, 5 or 6 stops, and all those will be linked below. And if you leave a comment on everybody's YouTube, the more comments you leave on the different websites, the better your chance. The more times your name will might get put into the hat. That winner will be announced on Marla Harris's website in about a week. I want to say on the 20th. So you can check on Marla Harris's YouTube, on her YouTube channel. She will actually be the one doing the announcing there. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's going to complete that. So I have links below to the next video in the hop, and I have links below to all the 7 Kids website stuff, and I have links to some of the other things that I used that, or like I'll link to the plaid paper, the My Favorite Things plaid paper that Kelly has in her website. She's got a couple cute My Favorite Things. My Favorite Things papers are one of my favorite pattern papers to use. So I was excited to see that she carries those. And I will link to the dies that I used, although I don't even know that they're available. You have those in your stash though. So stop on my blog at StampingImperfection.com to get that PDF with all the details. I'll have all my Copic combinations, and I will have all the dimensions and cutting instructions, and I'll include a template picture so you can use that if you prefer, because you can use a craft knife and a ruler or some kind of straight edge to do the cutting instead of the trimmer if you want to. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining us on this video hop today. Please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe while you're here and click that bell so you get notifications every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching.